Lawsalooza podcast, a legal comedy podcast where we discuss some of the most... Okay. Can you see him? Hold on.
But you gotta be able to see you.
Oh, shit.
We want to see you.
Hold on.
Why don't we scoot
We
the
want to
table
see you
over?
and Peyton Manning.
Just get him. Okay, here, you scoot the table thing.
Which
This
way?
one. To you. Is that better?
I don't know. We won't know until you sit down, but probably. I don't normally set up the table. This is why.
You just gotta put everything really, really close.
Okay. There we go.
Yeah, Peyton's right on your shoulder there.
Instead of an angel and devil, I've got Peyton. Telling me to
Tom
deflate
Brady
the
would
football.
be on the other side. No, that was Tom Brady. Peyton would not do that.
Okay, well that's
That's a great outtake.
obviously I know nothing about football. Okay.
As much as I did the other week.
We're about to learn.
Welcome to the Lawsalooza podcast, a legal comedy podcast where we discuss some of the most ridiculous laws and funny cases around the world while sipping some adult beverages, all related to this week's theme. My name is Lindsey Reedy.
I'm Miranda Dews.
And I'm Shawna Vasilko.
We are 3 North Carolina attorneys bringing you a unique twist on legal cases, but nothing in this podcast should be construed as legal advice. Don't forget to like and subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, and YouTube. Any other ones?
Amazon.
Okay. And also make sure to follow us on social media, including Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Lawsalooza Podcast. If you have a law or a case suggestion, feel free to send us an email at lawsaloozapodcast@gmail.com. Now for our next episode. Shawna, why don't you tell us about your drink? Because I brought my drink without a wine bottle opener, so we will not be participating in that this week.
Apparently I was actually supposed to do the law, but oops, it's a Monday here when we're recording, and I did a drink instead.
But I have a bonus law that I can talk about if you want, but if not, it gives me more time to talk about my court case, which I'm very heated over, so that is fine.
Oh, man.
So, you're just kind of going to get one of those episodes. But I did research a sports drink, and there were a lot of funny ones to choose from, so I wanted to give you a few names of those. They had the depressed goalie.
Oh, that's sad. AKA depressed goalie, that's why.
Screwed up fuzzy navel of a gator.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wait,
and Dallas bomb.
I don't get it.
I don't either. Wait.
Wasn't the Dallas bomb one the one that was just like 18 different types of whiskey?
It was a lot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, all those had a bunch of just whiskey and hard liquor and, nothing else. And I was like, we would not make it through the episode.
Yeah,
I don't know that we could even get a sip of that without wanting to vomit.
So I wasn't sure that we'd be able to really endorse any of those, so I kept looking. And I finally came across a drink called the Victory Drink. And I was like, well, that's fitting for kind of any sports. Everybody wants a victory, right?
Uh-huh.
So in this, it has 3 ounces of rum, 3 ounces of cranberry juice, and 6 ounces of lemonade.
All right, something we can get behind.
We need our fruity drinks. Oh,
That's mine.
it's got your face on it.
It does.
All right, so
A little extra for Shawna.
like I said, it's been a Monday here. So cheers!
Cheers.
To the victory drink.
Ooh.
Oh yeah,
that
I could
is
drink that a lot.
Very good. It just literally just tastes like lemonade.
It tastes like a Jolly Rancher or
Ooh,
something.
it definitely does.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely recommend this.
Yeah, this
is
is
good.
very good. This is what victory tastes like.
Ooh, I could really get behind that.
I
then.
wouldn't know. I cheer for the Panthers, so I would not know.
Yeah, that's yummy.
That is very good.
I'm a
Alright.
fan.
Would you like to hear about my bonus law I found?
Yeah, sure. Start us off.
Okay, well, this is a law I just came across, and I was like, oh, if I was doing the law today, this would be a fun one to talk about.
And now you are.
So apparently, I think it was in 2016, New York, they regulated fantasy sports, like fantasy football. It was part of their ban on gambling because they included it as like sports betting, and they banned fantasy sports. Isn't that wild? Like, if you play fantasy football, you can't in New York. Well, you couldn't for a brief time. They did overturn it because they said there was some skill required to play fantasy football.
What skill?
Okay, well, teach
I will
them out.
have you know there is a lot of skill required in fantasy football.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sorry, your face.
I really care deeply about.
Would be, is he cute? Or do I like their jersey? Or do they have a nice mascot? That's how I would play fantasy
that's
football.
not a great strategy to play fantasy football. I won my fantasy football league last year.
Okay,
Good
girl.
job, me. So I can say it does require a certain amount of skill. Although, your skill, I'm not really sure. Your skill at picking who you think's going to be good.
Look, no shame. We did it for our family, and the way I picked is I put mascots against each other, and whichever mascot would win in real life is who I picked.
That is how I do my March Madness bracket.
No way.
Because I don't know anything about college sports.
Oh, maybe. Wait. That was March Madness. That was not fantasy.
Okay.
My bad, guys. I know
Football,
nothing
you gotta
about
make
sports.
a whole team.
You got to make a whole team.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That's why you just gotta pick a bunch of ones you like.
No, that's too much.
No, you don't pick who you like. You pick who's good. If you're doing a redraft team, if you're doing a dynasty league, which I am doing this year for the first time ever, which will be interesting. This is when you keep your team over a long time. So you have to think about longevity, not just who's good this season, who's going to be good. So in that case, I would argue that there is some kind of skill required. But New York, anyways, for anybody listening in New York, you can continue with your fantasy sports because they decided it was not sports betting because it wasn't just pure luck or random chance. So, there you go.
What? I'm just so impressed by you right now. You're like talking about dynasty team and
I didn't even know that was a thing until she told me
Yeah.
a while ago that she was
Super
so excited
fun.
she made the dynasty team. And I was like,
Oh, I took
Wow.
over somebody else's team. So we're having a little bit of,
So
we're
what
having a
happens-
running back issue.
what happens if somebody retires? That's when
Like
you
a
get
player?
a rookie? Mm-hmm.
Well, you would cut them from your team.
Obviously, because they ain't gonna get
Because
you any points.
they get you 0 points, and you would either draft in like your league's draft a rookie player to replace that spot, or try to trade other players that you have to get somebody to fill. I did have that issue.
You want to talk about how you're being discriminated against in your league?
I just think I am. I'm the only girl in my league, and people keep making bad trades of me, and I'm like, is it because I'm a girl, or are you just doing this to everyone? I don't know. Jury's still out on that one. It's fine. I'm
I
probably
hope not.
Their butts.
Well,
Yeah, I was
no,
about to
don't
say.
say that. I'm
I
probably
didn't
going to
say
finish
that.
somewhere near the middle.
no,
Because-
you're gonna win.
No, I really do not have any good running backs at all.
She's gonna win.
I don't have any running backs.
I don't know what a running back is.
They run.
Someone that you need on
And they
your
have
team.
backs.
Okay, moving right along. So, as you can tell, I'm a huge super fan of Peyton Manning. He's
Oh, is
the-
that his jersey?
Yes, from the Colts. I do not have his Broncos jersey. Peyton Manning, if you're listening to this, you are a national treasure and I love you.
The one that has the model for a wife, or is that Tom Brady?
That's Tom Brady.
We're
There's
getting
two
to
Mannings,
that.
right?
Well, two Mannings. Their father also played.
Did this Manning play for Tennessee?
Yes.
Ah, see, I knew something.
Good job. He did, in fact, play for Tennessee. I am a super fan of Peyton Manning. I love the Carolina Panthers. I hate with a passion the Patriots and Tom Brady. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about the Patriots cheating scandals, which includes Deflategate, but it starts with, well, we're only going to talk about two. It starts with Spygate, 2007. Dun, dun, dun.
Spygate.
Oh,
Yes.
that was the football sound.
What?
It was the first part of the football sound. Okay.
So close. So close.
I hate the Patriots because, and people are going to tell me this is really like, I don't know what the word is I'm trying to think of, but they defeated the Panthers in our first Super Bowl trip, and
A friend of mine used to cheer for the Patriots.
ew,
That's rude.
I'm
She's
sorry.
very nice.
I'm sure that Shawna's friend who used to cheer for the Patriots, I'm sure you're very nice. I just don't like the Patriots. Because they beat the Panthers in our first trip to the Super Bowl. And I realized that, yes, Peyton Manning on the Broncos beat the Panthers in their second trip to the Super Bowl, but is different. Because Peyton Manning is a national treasure. Okay.
I feel as though I can't talk intelligently on this topic.
That's okay, because I'm going to tell you everything that you need to know about Spygate and Deflategate so that we can have a conversation about it.
Perfect.
So, 2007 is the scene. The Patriots were caught filming a game against the Jets, like a game that they were actually playing, regular season game. They were filming from their own sidelines the defensive signals that the Jets coaches and players were using during the game. So this is not allowed, although Bill Belichick, the coach of the Patriots, claimed that he thought it was legal. No comment on that. Pretty sure you knew what you were doing, Bill. So the NFL fined them they fined Belichick $500,000, and the Patriots $250,000, and they had to forfeit their first-round pick in the next year's draft.
Ooh.
So this is a pretty big deal, but also if you think about it, come on, like, do you have to film the calls against the Jets? Really? It's the Jets. They're like one of the worst teams ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're the worst.
They wear green jerseys.
They do wear green jerseys. They wear solid green jerseys with a little bit of white on it. But
New York, right?
Yeah, good job. Good job. So allegedly, Bill Belichick had been doing this since the year 2000 when he became the Patriots head coach, but he didn't get caught until 2007 filming against the Jets.
Oh, that's a long time.
Again, kind of stupid because that season the Jets finished with a 4-12 record, which means they only won 4 games. And come on.
Better team.
You should have picked it. Exactly. You should have picked a better team.
Why did they pick that team? Do you know?
Because they are in the AFC East, the same division.
Gotcha.
But, the Jets are consistently terrible.
You're going to get us a lot of hate on this episode.
Does anybody like the Jets? I don't think so. Comment if you like the Jets, or don't, because it's kind of embarrassing for you. Anyways, the NFL destroyed the Spygate tapes and the notes from the investigation. This happened all within a 2-week period. So the NFL organization had asked the Patriots to turn the tapes and the notes over, and the Patriots refused because they said they shouldn't leave our facility. So Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the NFL, he sent league officials to go to the Patriots facility and smash the tapes.
Oh, dang.
Literally smash them. So to keep it out of competitors' hands. So I don't know what competitors he meant. Competitors of the Jets? Competitors of the Patriots? Competitors of the NFL? Who knows?
So from 2000 to 2007, it was only the Jets they were?
No, they were filming other people too. They were filming, I believe it was the Rams, walkthrough practice for the Super Bowl.
Oh.
Which they claim they didn't do, but we'll never know because everything got smashed. So anyways, these penalties, though, that were mentioned previously were all issued out before the full extent of the wrongdoing was exposed, which is a little bit sketchy. And so this received some congressional attention, notably from U.S. Senator Arlen Specter. He's from Pennsylvania. He is the one who really, saw huge issue with this. So he made some comments in February of 2008 regarding the NFL's decision to destroy all the evidence. He was concerned about the underlying facts, the reasons for the judgment, the limited penalties, and we'll never know really the full extent of the truth because all the evidence was destroyed. So, if you think about a regular court case, you can't just go spoil the evidence because it's bad for you or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's essentially what happened. And the Senator Specter, he met with Roger Goodell in private in D.C. Later in February. And he, again, it's kind of funny. He mentioned all these concerns because he's a Steelers fan. And he's like, what if they did this against the Steelers? We need to know. I mean, can you use, federal funds because you're a fan of a team?
That doesn't seem right.
Because if so, you can vote for me for senator. The Panthers will win the next Super Bowl. Anyways, there were some funny lawsuits that followed from this, though, and I think it's hilarious. So February 15, 2008, former Rams safety Willie Gary filed a $100 million lawsuit, and in the U.S. District Court in New Orleans against Belichick, the Patriots organization, and Robert Kraft, who's the owner of the Patriots, who has his own legal issues from a few years ago, if you know anything about that. But anyways, Gary sought compensation for the Rams Super Bowl 36 loss. So he was trying to sue them because his team lost in the Super Bowl.
Can I sue if my team loses?
Apparently, yes.
I'll pick the losing team every time.
You could. Yeah, pretty good strategy. Also, this was a class action lawsuit, and an actual real attorney named Hugh Campbell. He was the one representing the class on here. The class action, like the people in the class, were the Rams season ticket holders. Right?
Because they lost.
Interesting, because they lost in the Super Bowl.
But the season ticket holders don't automatically go to the Super Bowl.
Exactly.
No.
Exactly.
See, I
they
do
do
know.
not. So confusing how that happened. It was withdrawn 1 month later because the investigation was stonewalled by Roger Goodell. They were not able to get key testimony from Matt Walsh. And Matt Walsh was important because he was a video assistant with the Patriots until after the 2002 season. And so he's one of the ones who kind of came forward, but like didn't really come forward because he didn't make it super public and just talked about that, we've been doing this for a long time. There's like 6 to 8 more videos out there. Anyways,
oh my
though.
gosh.
So they had to drop it. And then there was a second case, and I like this one even better. It was filed by an attorney named Carl Meyer. Meyer? I don't know. Carl, I don't know how to say your name. Sorry. Mayer. Mayer, I guess. Anyways,
Yeah,
he
Mayer.
filed on behalf of himself and season ticket holders for the Jets. Yeah. Like
They
all,
have a lot
like
of those?
2 of them, I guess. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of Jets hate in this. I'm sorry. Like, if you're a fan of that team, like, I apologize.
She doesn't mean it.
Yeah, I feel like that's not very sincere.
Like, I'm sorry, your team is bad. What do you want me to say? My team is bad, too. Anyways, he sued Belichick specifically for $184.8 million in damages. And he brought it under, like, federal racketeering law, which I don't know anything about racketeering law.
I
What?
was on a racketeering case once.
Oh, okay. Was it about the Jets?
No, it involved gang members.
Okay. Well, maybe he was trying to say that the Patriots were a
It's
gang.
just organized crime.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So,
Organized crime.
so he was able to, I guess he boosted the damages up or whatever by saying it was like organized crime, which now is really funny to think about the Patriots like football team being like an organized.
Like mobs.
Like a mob.
boss.
Hmm,
Yeah. Belichick's
okay.
a mob boss.
This is hilarious. I like this like mental image. Anyways, he said this equaled the cost of tickets for the Jets-Patriots games played at Giants Stadium during Belichick's tenure as coach. I
That's
guess
a lot of money.
Yeah.
that is a lot of money. And I'm like, were people buying these tickets? I don't know. Anyways, it was dismissed, and I guess he appealed. But the U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals for the 3rd District upheld the dismissal by the lower court, which seems, like, I don't like the Patriots, but that seems valid. Like, I
Yeah,
mean,
how do you bring? You gotta really.
I can't
prove that they're
imagine.
an organized criminal empire.
Yeah, that's really funny. I mean, I know I call them that all the time, but I wouldn't, like, file a lawsuit over it.
Because you're a smart attorney.
Well, I'm sure he was smart too, but he was just super heated. Super heated. So, I mean, I guess, like, I could file or could have filed a lawsuit on behalf of Panthers fans for our loss.
Don't do it.
I mean, it's probably too late now. I'm sure the statute of limitations has run on that. And are we going to go back to another Super Bowl? Let's be real. Yes, we are. This is our year. We have Baker Mayfield, guys.
This year's your year?
No. Okay. That brings us to Deflategate 2014.
Was it that long ago?
I know. I feel like it was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was shocked. That
Do you
it-
even remember Deflategate?
I do actually. Yes, this I do remember.
So yeah, I guess I realized it was this long ago, but in my memory it seems like
Yeah.
it was like a year or two
Yeah.
ago, but it was absolutely not. It was in 2014, which was like 6 years ago. So it was the 2014 AFC Championship game played against the Colts. Oh, wait. I have to back up a little bit to Spygate because there is a perfect, like, karma moment about all of this, which makes me really happy. So that season of Spygate, the Patriots finished the season with a 16-0 record. This is a perfect record. They didn't lose a single game. They didn't lose a single postseason game until Super Bowl 42, which they played against the New York Giants, and it was probably one of the greatest nights of my entire life because they lost the Super Bowl to the New York Giants, led by Eli Manning, with a score of 17-14. And I remember watching this game at a party with, like, all Patriots fans, and I was the only Giant, like, me and my friend, we were the only Giants fans, and I made a New York Giants cake, and nobody would touch it, so they were so mad, and so it was like, and they were talking so much smack the entire game until the end. It was amazing.
Is Eli also a national treasure to you?
Yes, because he stopped Tom Brady twice.
But not as much of a national treasure as...
No, Peyton Manning is the national treasure. Yes. Yes, and I'm willing to die on this hill, so come at me. He is the true
I'm
GOAT.
coming at her.
Peyton Manning is the GOAT. Not Tom Brady. I do not like Tom Brady, and I'm really peeved that he plays for the Buccaneers now, so I'm forced to watch him twice a year beat the Panthers. Okay.
Except this year.
No, he's probably absolutely going to beat us this year.
I was trying to help
I feel like everyone's going to beat us this year, let's be real. Like, the practices we've had so far have not looked great.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a bummer.
Yeah. Super bummed about that. Baker Mayfield's very first pass in practice was an interception.
Oh, no.
Lord.
Off to a great start, guys. Love it. Anyways, moving right along. Deflategate in 2014, which is not 2 years ago. It was the 2014 AFC Championship game against the Colts. The Patriots won that game 45-7, which is kind of a hilarious amount to win by. If you're a Colts fan, this was not when Peyton Manning was on the Colts, though, so he is not responsible for that final score. The NFL in the NFL, footballs are required to be inflated to a gauge pressure of 12.5 to 13.5 psi. The 2006, the league had a rule change. Prior to that, whatever like the home team was supposed to supply all the game balls for that game. But Tom Brady and Peyton Manning kind of joined forces to get that rule changed. And so now each team uses its own balls on offense rather than having the home team supply them. And so this was a home game, so I guess it wouldn't really have mattered that much, except that the Colts balls were all fully inflated because they were bringing their own, and herein lies the issue. So deflating a ball makes it easier to grip, obviously because it's squishier, and I didn't bring a football, but I have one. It's a little tiny peewee size football because I have small hands and cannot hold a regulation football. I did check it though, and hilariously it had like partially deflated because I haven't used it in a while. I was like, oh, Tom Brady's been here.
Was it easier to grip?
It was easier to grip, but it was also like noticeably deflated, and I feel like his were like not quite, so like you couldn't like squish them all the way in.
That'd be a lot. It seems like they wouldn't travel.
That's what I would think too, unless they'd been practicing with partially deflated. I mean, they weren't like super deflated. It was like 1 to 2 pounds less than what it should be. So we're talking like 11 psi instead of like 12.5. And then the other issue too is like weather affects it, obviously. Like, you know, your car tires too, they tell you like don't check it when the tires are hot, like let your car sit for 2 hours before you check it. So stuff like that. Anyways, during the first half of the game, Colts linebacker DeQuell Jackson, he intercepted Brady. He gave his ball that he had intercepted to the Colts equipment manager to keep it safe because he wanted to keep it as a souvenir. And so rumor has it.
You could do that.
Yeah, or you can give it to like a fan in the stand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's your ball. You can do whatever you want with it, I guess. Pretty exciting.
Learn something new.
So, are you going to go try to like intercept a football now so you can kick as a souvenir?
Yeah, I would be on the news then.
Anyways, so there's a rumor that this is what first tipped them off to deflated balls, although later Jackson said like he didn't even notice, so, you know, for what it's worth, like, people didn't notice, I guess. But anyways, at halftime, all the balls were inspected by NFL officials, and there were a bunch of conflicting reports that came out later. So the first representative said 11 of 12 were deflated. One said only one ball was deflated, and then another one said 5 of 11 were deflated.
Different.
So yeah, there's a lot of discrepancies going on here. And then, interestingly, later, when they checked video surveillance, they saw a Patriots locker room attendant go into the locker room. He took 24 game balls, so 12 from each team. He took them into the bathroom for 90 seconds and then came back out with them. So I'm just like,
Miranda?
what? Super weird. So the officials, they check the air pressure, but they don't log it, which seems kind of like, why bother checking?
Like, are you really going to remember?
Right. So this was the other issue. And also during the game, like, as if they needed more issues, another issue came up where a ball went missing somehow. Like, I don't know how that happens. But anyways, a ball goes missing. And then 2 different officials bring replacement balls to the equipment manager. And one of those people was fired later for allegedly selling game balls for personal profit. So I guess maybe that's how the one went missing. He just like took it and was like, I'm going to sell this on eBay or something.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, kind of weird. But this is not the first
Let's get
time.
a signature on it.
I know, right? Like, but I guess that would look pretty obvious if you're like interrupting a game, like, hey, Tom Brady, can you sign this ball? Like, don't ask any questions. This was not the first time allegations like this were brought against the Patriots. Earlier that season, during Week 11, also against the Colts, there was an underinflated ball issue reported. Safety Mike Adams intercepted to that game, and he noticed the ball appearance was coated in a, quote, tacky substance and was spongy when squeezed. So I feel like this is several issues.
I guess they're saying they were putting something on it so he could
That's
grip it?
what it implies. Or like catch it better, or have it stick to your hands when caught.
Interesting.
Very sketchy.
Seems like if it was sticky and you were trying to throw it, that
That it wouldn't
like it would
stick.
create. Yeah.
I don't know.
I just feel like they didn't think this through all the way.
They clearly did not, because they got caught. So after all of this kind of came out after that game, the NFL hired New York attorney Ted Wells to investigate. So 4 months later, they published a 243-page report where they say that it was more probable than not that the Patriots equipment personnel deliberately circumvented the rules. And regarding Tom Brady specifically, they said it was more probable than not that he was at least generally aware of the situation, which, I mean, I would tend to agree with, because if you're the one throwing the ball, you should know.
If that is your actual job, you should
Yeah.
definitely know if the ball is squishy
Or lighter, because I feel like it would
or-
be lighter, too, if it had, like, a pound less air pressure.
You should know. That's like your job.
Yeah, like literally this is all that you do, Tom Brady. Come on. Okay. Well, he says he didn't know.
We're side-eyeing him.
Don't buy that one, Tom Brady. I'm done with your lies. The locker room attendant, Jim McNally, who I think was the sketchy, like, I'm going to take all these balls to the bathroom guy, and the equipment assistant, John Jastrzynski, were implicated in the plot. Which I love that they call it a plot. It sounds like, see, like that's the racketeering. Very organized crime. We're making little plots.
Well, I guess if they were organizing this over a long period
and
of
it's
time.
a crime, that's organized crime, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it a crime? Or is it
I
just
don't think
breaking
it's.
the rules?
I think it's a crime in the NFL. I don't think it's like a crime like
So
in
that's-
Can you imagine the police are like patrolling like kids throwing footballs in the street and stuff like, oh, that's underinflated.
Yeah. So I think
Straight
that's
to jail.
where the lawsuit issue comes in.
Yeah.
It's a rule, not a crime.
So, anyways, they investigated the McNally and Jastrzynski. They, I guess, seized their cell phones. They saw a number of texts sent back and forth between the two referencing Tom Brady. They referenced gifts that Brady had allegedly given to McNally, and they were joking about deflation. And so, also interestingly, during this time, which tell me if an innocent person would do this, Tom Brady destroyed his cell phone.
Oh, I remember hearing about that.
Yes.
Sketchy.
Very sketchy. And they said, I think he had sent like 10,000 texts, which also, like, I have questions. Who sends 10,000 texts? Like,
It's a lot.
that's a
In
lot
what
of texts.
period of time?
Like 4 months, like that football
Oh,
season.
that is a lot.
That's
of
a lot.
texts.
Like, I feel like if you looked at my 4 months of texts, I've sent like 100 maybe.
I don't know.
I guess it depends on group convos. Anyways.
Yeah. Interesting. Anyways.
That's a lot.
Tom Brady, we have questions.
Maybe you should be practicing football more. Yeah.
Exactly. Well,
you don't have to cheat.
Mm-hmm.
Now
Tell
I'm
him,
the hater
Shawna.
band.
Thank you. That was my whole goal tonight. So, May 11th, 2015, the NFL announced that Tom Brady will be suspended for 4 games during the next season. So that would be the season starting like fall 2015. And the Patriots organization was fined $1 million, and they were forfeit 2 draft selections. So that was going to be their 2016 first-round pick and their 2017 fourth-round pick. Which,
why the 4th round?
I don't know. Great question, because it was like the 132nd pick overall.
That seems like...
And they had, during trades, like another pick in the 4th round that year. So it's like, yeah, exactly. Like, who cares? Like, whatever.
Arbitrary.
Yeah, very arbitrary. Doesn't matter. I guess it's just be like a little smack on the hand, like, oh, don't do that again.
Naughty boy.
Okay. McNally and Jastrzemski were indefinitely suspended, and then it was said that you would have to get permission from the NFL to rehire them. However, the NFL Players Association requested an appeal of this decision, and when they appealed it, the NFL announced that Commissioner Roger Goodell would preside over this, and he upheld the suspension, which is kind of funny, because it was definitely not like an unbiased arbitrator, but
right.
Whatever. Then the NFL Players Association filed an injunction in court to prevent the NFL from enforcing the 4-game suspension. And this was filed with the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York, where Judge Berman overturned Brady's suspension.
He must have been a fan.
Or he was on Berman's fantasy football team that season. Interesting. And McNally and Jastrzemski were also reinstated on September 16th of 2015. But then the NFL appealed that to the Second Circuit Court of Appeals, who upheld the suspension because they are not going to stand by and let Tom Brady continue to cheat to win. So, Second Circuit Court of Appeals fighting the good fight. Brady petitioned to request an en banc rehearing, and then that was denied.
You probably need to explain an en banc hearing.
Why don't you explain it?
That's how many of them is it? All of them?
All of them.
All the judges,
And
not
that-
just. Usually it's 3, right?
Yeah.
And then when you want an en banc hearing, it's all of them.
Which I don't really know how that would have changed the outcome. Like, do you think that would have changed anything?
Depends on how many people had him on their team.
Yeah, maybe that's his strategy there. Anyways, I don't know. He could have appealed that to the Supreme Court of the United States, which is wild.
Really? Don't you think they have more things better things to do?
One would think. He did not.
Good.
To his credit, he did not. But wouldn't that have been hilarious if it was like a Supreme Court hearing about whether Tom Brady should be suspended
Be
for
out there
4 games?
tailgating the Supreme Court hearing.
I mean, you know people would be. Anyways, he was suspended the first 4 games of the 2016 season instead of the 2015 season. The Patriots started that season 3-1. So that's not bad at all. I mean, they lost 1 game. They had Jimmy G and Jacoby Brissett as their backups. Jimmy G got injured in one of those games. So, and then he got traded after that. Whatever. I'm sure he's fine with that because he went on to the Super Bowl after that. Later. Not immediately after that. Anyways, when Brady came back, their record was 11-1, so they still just lost 1 game with Brady. So they finished, obviously, 14-2 overall. That was the year, interestingly enough, they went to the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 51 against the Falcons. Do you guys remember that one? The one Lady Gaga did the halftime show. No, you don't remember it? This is the one where the Falcons were leading like 0-28 at halftime. And then they didn't score a single goal at all. They didn't score anything in the second half of the game, and the Patriots came back to win 34-28, which is kind of funny because I also really don't like the Falcons. So it was just kind of like the best of both worlds. It was like a smackdown on the Patriots in the first half and a smackdown on the Falcons in the second half. So it was just great.
Yeah.
I probably was there for the commercials and the food.
Yeah, same.
And the halftime show, but I don't remember it.
The halftime show is Lady Gaga.
I'm sure it was great.
Peyton Manning had a commercial.
Doesn't he always have a
2016.
commercial?
No, but he had a funny commercial
Was
during
it a car
this one.
commercial?
No, it was a funny commercial about him having a Super Bowl party because it was like right after he retired. The season after he retired, he had a Super Bowl party, and then when the Patriots started winning, he unplugged his TV. It was very funny. So, yeah.
We watch college football at my house.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what Jason's really into. He likes Notre Dame.
Why?
Because his dad liked Notre Dame, and that's what he grew up liking.
Good reason, I guess.
Yes.
We don't watch. I don't personally watch college football.
Oh. Well, you should have watched when Peyton was playing for Tennessee.
That was like a really long time ago. I think it was like in elementary school. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
How old is he?
Older than
Super
me.
fan.
He's older than me.
Memorized other people's birthdays that are national treasures.
No, I didn't. Who? Why are you looking at me like that? I don't know. Whose birthday did I memorize that I don't know?
Ben Franklin?
I don't have his birthday memorized.
I bet you do.
I do not. All right.
She's lying!
I am not lying.
Yeah, she is. She
I'm
can tell
not.
you so many facts about Ben Franklin, it's ridiculous.
But he's not an athlete, and they're common knowledge facts.
You know his birthday, don't you?
I do not know his birthday. And just because I'm being accosted here, I'm intentionally not going to learn his birthday.
So have they made any new regulations regarding footballs? Like, do they have to be tested and recorded?
I don't know. It would make sense if they were required to be recorded now.
Yeah.
But they probably aren't. Although, again, like...
And I'm kind of surprised, like, the refs don't just bring them in. Why let each team, you know?
Because the refs are also probably biased.
True.
Especially refs at Patriotsgate.
Well, you got a lot of animosity
I have
here.
a lot of animosity,
anger.
okay? a
There's
lot
some
of anger.
I feel like we should feed her or something.
Yeah.
She needs a Snickers.
I don't like peanut butter.
It's not peanut butter, it's peanuts.
I don't like that either.
What do you eat?
Cookie cake.
Yeah. That's the one win I had today. I brought cookie cake.
But we ate it, so we can't show it to you. We ate part of it.
Tiny
We ate the part that said Uda. It
Uda.
said Uda bomb. Now it just has a bomb. Thanks for watching episode, what is this, 9?
Yes.
Wow, that's crazy. Be sure to tune in next week to episode 10, topic TBD. Be sure to like and subscribe.
Bye.